If you caught our conversation with Dr. Stephen George, you heard about Asian Christian Academy in India, a seminary, a K through 12 school, a hospital, an autism center, an agricultural school, a fitness center, all on one campus. Stephen holds the big picture. He sees the whole of ACA. But today, I want to go a little deeper into the seminary at ACA, inside the curriculum, inside the daily work of forming theological leaders for the church in India. My guest is Dr. Eldy Eldhouse. Eldy serves as academic dean of Evangelical Theological Seminary, known as ETS. The seminary sits on the campus of ACA. And while Stephen is thinking about the whole of the institution, Eldy is in all the day-to-day academic planning and implementation. He's thinking about curriculum, about faculty, about programs, about what it actually takes to prepare men and women for ministry in one of the most complex contexts in the world, in India today. Welcome to Reimagining Theological Education Together. I'm your host, Michael Ortiz, and today I have a special guest. Eldy, welcome to the podcast. It's so good to have you here with me today.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's a great joy and privilege for me to be here.
That's right.
With you on the podcast.
It's good to have you. So you are serving as academic dean at Evangelical Theological Seminary. That's part of ACA in India that we know about. Tell me, as you sit as a chair of the academic department there at ETS, what do you see happening in academic development, not just in India, but maybe in other parts of the world, that you're looking ahead and you're thinking, what are some areas that we need to begin to reimagine, rethink through in terms of faculty development, academic programs, curriculum, things along those lines? What kind of goes through your mind nowadays when it comes to that? So,
great question, Michael.
Yeah.
Well, there are many things that go through my mind. I know that not all of those things are, worth thinking about, or not all of those questions keep me awake at night. But there are a few that keeps me awake at night. One of which is the ways in which the world is changing at such a fast pace. Before we know, the epochal changes have happened.
Yes.
Like, the introduction of smartphone, as Steve Jobs put it when he introduced the iPhone to the world, that a small computer in your hand. The way we communicate has changed. The way we, gather information has changed. We take music wherever we go. We can now read on the go. So we can now study on the go.
Wow.
Right? The brick and mortar schools are no longer a limitation for anyone who learns. So,
And especially probably after the COVID period. I mean, right? I mean, do you see
absolutely.
that? Yeah.
And in fact, very interesting that during the pandemic, many schools went online. Even little kids have learned to use smartphone. All of a sudden, we feel that they have left behind a generation. Like the generational shift happened without any time for us to get used to it, to get acclimatized. So now fast forward to 2026, the issues are different, but they are multifaceted, both an opportunity and a challenge for theological education. For example, the rise of new materialism and how it has redefined traditional understanding of personhood. It really brings in a lot of challenges when we think about who we are in God's creation.
Yeah, the whole area of human anthropology, biblical theological anthropology, right?
Yeah, completely.
How do you define what a human is nowadays? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And to new materialism, it does not make a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
But that's not how we have ever envisioned. The scripture is written from an entirely different perspective. So a lot of the young folks who come into the seminary come in with some of these questions on their mind. So that is what will push us toward finding the right kind of answers.
And how do you go about finding some of those answers? And because you're right. There's so much. It's so multifaceted, and the rate of change in the world is accelerating every day. Right. So in other words, things are changing faster than they were even a year ago. So how do you get ahead of these things? How do you, as an academic dean, how do you deal with that? How do you manage that?
Yeah. I'm blessed to have actually a great group of faculty members,
Okay.
advisors around me. Of course,
You're a good
as you
see.
know,
That's a good leader, right? Where he
yes,
he points back to his faculty and says, "I've got great people around me." That's great.
yeah,
Yeah,
I cannot pull this off myself. You know
yeah,
that as a leader,
sure.
we need a great group of people around us.
Yeah,
But then we do brainstorm every so often in our faculty meetings. We discuss, okay, what's going on in the world, going around us. How do we troubleshoot some of those? Are we prepared? Every year we have the faculty retreat. One of the agenda items is to discuss how do we bring ourselves up to speed to where things are today, whether that is technologically driven ideas or AI, adaptive AI, how that has both challenged and changed higher education. So we try to ask questions as to how do we modify our curriculum, which areas should we be working on?
the challenge with that sometimes, LD, is that at least from my experience, and maybe it's different in ETS, my experience is that theological education, especially at the formal institutional level, for it to change or create something new often takes a long time. And even faculty, to have faculty be willing to think of things in a different way, sometimes they're reluctant to do that, or or it's just difficult to do that. So how do you navigate that issue at ETS with your faculty and others that are involved in designing maybe a new course or a new area of study or whatever the case may be? How do you handle changes within ETS at this point in time?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, change is hard. Nobody likes change.
Nobody
Even
likes change.
I
Yeah.
don't like. We are
Yeah,
creatures of
exactly.
habit.
Sure.
And when it comes to academic learning, we recognize that we've been shaped a certain way. So monkey see, monkey do. So learning something new.
So now you're comparing faculty to monkeys. So that's great. That's
well,
fantastic.
I'm comparing myself to
We're both
monkeys.
faculty. Yeah. Okay. So we're all monkeys. Yeah.
That's right. Because we've been modeled something for us.
Sure.
And now when we change that,
Yeah.
it requires a lot of thinking. So one of the things that we have been doing at ETS is to collaborate with a couple of different, business as mission programs. Some of our friends who are working in the IT sector, one of them has a business in the AI sector.
Okay.
So artificial intelligence. And
Sure.
they have already been working with higher educational institutions, bringing in ideas, trying to help, streamline their own educational process. So we've actually gotten them on board. We just signed a contract with
great.
them. They are going to help us with redesigning some of our own learning, in-classroom learning, online learning experiences.
My goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't
So
that
we are,
something?
of course, bringing in outside expertise
Yes.
to help us with.
Yes.
And, that is one of the ways. And faculty members are actually pretty open to it. And we've been blessed with a group of faculty members who really want to actually learn and change because they have
did
kids at home.
Yeah. They're motivated, right, to
Exactly.
change as well along the way.
Yeah.
There may be some that are watching this interview and our podcast here today, and sometimes there are some that are more in the more non-formal spaces of training, or maybe they're involved in the church and they're looking at seminaries and they're looking at what we do on the formal side, and they're thinking, boy, that's the ivory tower. That's way over there. They are disconnected from real life and what I call some of the pew level realities within the church. And so tell me, why is it important to do the work that you do with your faculty as an academic dean. How do you see that being a vital role, a vital part of what we do with the church as a whole? Does
Yeah.
that make sense, that question? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A
Yeah.
great question again. We are convinced that church is God's program. Seminary, formal education, or non formal, we all come alongside for one purpose, that is to serve the church. We exist to train men and women for the sake of the church. So that is God's program. And, we come alongside. It's not that we exist for ourselves. So as ETS is thinking about curriculum, thinking about training, that is at the forefront of all of that we are thinking about. How do our graduates go and impact the world? And as they exist within a campus that has a K through 12 school, a hospital, we have over 4,000 people on campus during the work week. That's a lot of people. And then, so the world is coming inside the campus, if you will. We have an orphanage, we have a culinary school, we have a gym. Our students are exposed to all of these realities of life while doing seminary. And then they're all plugged into their local churches. That's part of their requirement of being a student. So we recognize that theological education is for the sake of the church. So I don't think there should be a divide between formal versus non-formal in that sense, because at the end of the day, our goal is to help the church spread the word.
That's great. Yeah, I use the language of we all have one common aim. It doesn't matter if you're in the non-formal space or in the formal space, that we're all about one common aim, and that's to strengthen the church for its gospel mission.
Absolutely.
So I love what the answer you gave. Also, I did an interview with Stephen George, as you know, and so Stephen, of course, is the president of ACA, Asian Christian Academy, and he did a great job describing the campus and describing. In another episode, he described all the different things that you guys do there, the autism school and everything else that you're doing there. And I remember being there a couple of years ago and just walking on the campus and just being totally astonished by all the different things you guys are doing there. So what I'm hearing then is that you're seeing people in the community around you, around ETS, coming onto the campus for services, for school, for all sorts of things, and your students are getting to interact with them right there on their campus. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly what, you described it well. That's exactly what is happening.
So, Eldy, that great response, but I want to stay focused on the ETS and its role in serving local context, society, church, and so on. And what are some things that you might see as academic dean that you see currently happening within the Indian culture, that you're watching that, and you're also watching your students, and you're wondering, how do I prepare our graduates to meet those things, right? What are some of those things that you see happening today that you're wanting to get your students prepared to address once they graduate?
Yeah, a great question again.
Yeah.
With the advent of social media and easy access to pretty much anything around the world, the Indian society, especially the younger generation, has changed at a much faster pace than the previous generations. So they think like Westerners, and they exist in the East, in the Indian context. So you see tension, you see identity crisis, and you see materialism coming in, even into the church. They have an image of what it means to be successful. And everyone wants to be successful, whether in ministry or in the marketplace. So I think
and they're defining what success is based upon what society is telling them it is, and it sounds like there's a lot more Western influence that's shaping what success is.
Exactly.
Okay.
You nailed it. That's exactly what is happening, actually.
Yeah.
And even among the seminary students, you see that.
Okay.
So as faculty members, we have to remind ourselves that these 21, 22, 23-year-olds who have just come into the seminary have come from secular backgrounds or from other university backgrounds, who have seen all of these things and who have aspirations for some of these things.
Right.
So how do you shape their thinking? How do you move it towards Christ? And as Augustine talked about, forming those godly affections.
Yes.
And redefining what success is
Yeah.
and what it means to serve God and to have the right kind of goals in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you're sharing, LD, is so good because I would imagine that the challenge you're addressing is not just in India, right? I mean, we're talking about the Indian context, but I see that in Latin America, Africa, parts of Europe, and so on. Today we're living at a world that's changing rapidly, and we have all these different tools to be exposed to all these different ideas and things. So when you think about those students, then how do you help your faculty? What are you doing at ETS to help your faculty not just be aware of these challenges, the incoming students, but how do you help them develop those affections for God that Augustine talked
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question because when we know that we can, of course, there's room for growth.
Yeah.
But the few things that we try to do and we want to do that well are like having spiritual formation program every week, and a faculty is in charge of mentoring a small group. It's about 5 to 6 students.
Okay.
So all of us take on smaller groups, and we get time to spend with them, walk with them. And by the way, we use Dallas Theological Seminary Spiritual Formation
Okay,
Handbook.
there you
So
go.
we've been given permission to use it. So we use that gratefully, and we use it well.
Yeah.
We do have to, of course, adapt and change some of the analogies or examples used.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it has become a great resource. So we ask these real, candid questions about life. Like, what does it mean for us to confront sin? What does it mean for me to be honest before a God who sees everything,
Yeah.
who knows everything,
Yeah.
from whom I cannot run away, as Psalm 139 reminds us? So we ask that question ourselves as faculty members, that there is nothing that is not known to God. So how do I think about God? And Augustine says, when you when you think of affections and you think of love, if you love something, then you will do it without any pressure.
Yeah.
If we do or don't do certain things out of fear,
Yeah.
whenever fear is gone, we will stop doing them.
That's exactly
But
right.
if we do that out of love, then it does not require any other prompting because you just do it because you love to do it.
That's great.
So our prayer for our students and ourselves is this, that God would graciously work with us, continue to form Christ in us, as Paul, talked about the believers, that, he would love to see Christ formed in them.
Yeah, amen. So you mentioned utilizing the Dallas Seminary spiritual formation material, and I want to go towards the question about contextualization, because you touched on it here a moment ago too. Over the years, what I've seen is that a lot of seminaries and Bible colleges around the world are still utilizing material and books. You go to some libraries; they look like libraries from North America, sometimes, But
Yeah.
but how do you take material content that is good material, right? Good, well thought out, well developed in the West. How do you take that, and with your faculty as academic dean, how do you work with that material to make it more applicable for your context and contextualize for that setting? What does that process look like for you?
Yeah, that's a great, fantastic question. In fact, recently in our faculty, annual faculty retreat, that was the topic that
Okay.
they discussed. So we had Dr. Varghese,
Yes.
John from SIAX.
Sure,
He's
I
the
know.
principal
Sure.
of SIAX.
Yeah.
He came and spoke to us. He has written a book recently published by Cambridge University Press on politics and intersection of Christianity and politics in India. So one of the
In
things
India.
in
Or
India,
Wow, that's fantastic.
and one of the things that he talked about and something that we've been thinking about is this: that we don't want to contextualize theology for India, but doing theology in context, because we are placed within the Indian context, because truth remains the same, regardless of where it is. But now, how do you package it for the Indian context? So one of the things that we do is to understand where our students come from, what kind of cultural, religious, tribal backgrounds they come from. Some of our students do come from the Northeast. Right now, there is a situation of conflict in one of the northeastern states. The tribes are torn apart, and we do have students coming from those warring tribes as students at ETS. So how do we talk about what it means for us to be reconciled to God and to one another? So talking about, again, gospel, like what does gospel mean? Gospel is not only an on-ramp to being right with God.
Sure.
It's daily life.
Yes.
When I interact with my brother, my sister, my fellow classmate, my colleague, gospel comes alive. So we ask this question, what kind of language should I use to communicate truth in love with my brother or my sister? So we ask good questions. Our assessments sometimes are geared towards those oftentimes descriptive models of answers instead of giving objective ways of giving answers. And we have discussion forums. We have in-class group presentations where we force them to take differing views and we ask them to own it as if that is their conviction, and they present ideas from that point of view which they don't necessarily hold. So to help them think through diverse issues and then bit more sympathetic to differing views.
And having different perspectives of those
Exactly.
issues. Let's go back to the faculty for a moment as well. You have how many faculty do you have there at ETS right now?
So we have right now 17 faculty members.
17.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And they're full time.
So we do
part-time?
have about 3 adjunct and the rest are full time.
Okay. And so you talked about like this annual retreat that you have with the faculty. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about the annual retreat. What do you do? What's the purpose for it? Why do you do it? Those sorts of things. What's that about?
So this is a 3-day event. We go off-site. We book a nice place, good food.
And they come. Now they come. They come, right?
They come. And it's paid for. So
they're going to be there. Yeah.
And we have recreational activities. It's a time for us to bond, but also look at academic health. How are we doing? What have you observed? So we have student exit surveys, graduate surveys, and graduate profiles brought in, like what has been happening with our graduates.
So these are people that, graduates, alumni
Right,
of the school. And so do you do those surveys?
Well in advance.
But how long have these graduates been graduates before you do the survey? Is it like a year, 2 years?
So we have actually multiple layers of that.
Got it. Okay.
So we have now graduated or 1,000 graduates in the last 40 years. When it started, it was just 3 graduates initially
amazing.
to 5.
Praise God for that growth.
This last graduation, we graduated 29.
Oh
So
my goodness.
numbers have gone up.
They're going up there.
But when you consider DTS 468, I mean, we are just a drop in the ocean, sort of.
You're doing a great work, though.
Yeah.
It's important.
So when we send out surveys through our alumni networks,
Got it.
It goes out to pretty much everyone, and the respondents, then we categorize them based on when they graduated. So it's not like, let's send out the survey to like who has been in ministry for 5 years or 10 years. We send it out to everyone. And, we have varying kind of success. Some, regardless of when they graduated, they keep responding.
Sure.
Some of the older generation may not respond as much. But then we categorize, okay, this person graduated 10 years ago. And we have a number of people in and around that time frame.
Yeah.
And we see what have they been doing. And we see that many of them are denominational leaders, parachurch organization leaders, very successful. Some of them are actually in North America,
Yeah,
pastors and leaders in seminaries
Here,
here,
yeah.
teaching in seminaries. So we try to get a grasp of what is happening, and then we bring that to the faculty retreat, discussing about how do we change our curriculum, how do we keep improvising, push ourselves. And now lately with ChatGPT and AI, adaptive AI, the challenges has
Sure.
become real.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's a big part of what we're talking about today.
exactly,
theological education, sure.
and it is challenge. So, what is the value of formal education now? Because if it's only dissemination of information, it's available on your fingertip. Why seminary?
Yeah, and that's where we go back to the spiritual formation part and
Exactly.
the development of character in young people's lives that are coming in, so that they are redefining what success looks like while they're in school.
Exactly.
Over the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we also remind ourselves as faculty members that we exist not just to teach them and expose them to tools or help them develop skills. I think I would go on a limb to say that, maybe most of what we focus on is character formation.
Yeah. So when you have, not that the retreat is everything, I know that, but what I'm hearing is that you're using the surveys of graduates to inform the faculty and your academic programs. Here are the areas we need to adjust or change or improve on. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, and
Okay.
so one of the questions, or few of questions related to this, but one of the areas of questions that we focus on is, what did you wish that you had while at ETS? What programs, what courses, what classes, or you've been teaching in a seminary for the last X number of years.
Right.
What did you wish that you had that ETS taught you or helped you think through now that you have been in ministry? So that is a great eye opener for us. Okay, you know what? These are our own people speaking truth to us. So we find gaps.
Yeah, and for you as a school, that is a sort of a putting yourself in a very vulnerable position, isn't it? It's like you're telling them, give me some feedback now that you're out in the field. Let me know what we missed out on, and how can we? That's fantastic, Eldy. That's great. And how do the faculty respond to that kind of information that you're bringing in from these graduates? What's their response? How do you deal with it with them and so on?
As I said, I work with a great group of men.
Yeah.
They're very gracious, and actually they take it graciously because some of us are graduates of ETS. I'm a graduate of ETS.
Yeah.
So my foundation was laid there. I'm also a graduate of DTS.
Yeah.
We'll come to that in a bit, I guess. We all take it very positively, and we are also very realistic as to what we can and what we cannot. We recognize that, we wish we could do that, but that's outside our remit, outside what we can do.
Sure.
But you know what? That's fantastic. Why don't we think about it? And then we start assigning roles to various faculty members, taking leadership on some of these ideas. Yeah.
Okay. Faculty, as you lead the faculty, I am assuming that your faculty are very busy people, right?
Yes, they are.
And they're busy at school, but they probably have other responsibilities, whether it be at home or maybe the local churches that they serve in and things along those lines. As academic dean, Eldy, how do you help the faculty with balance of life? Balance between the demands and rigor of being a professor at a school like ETS and then also trying to balance everything else that they have going on in life. What does that look like for you? Now, maybe the retreat probably helps a little bit, gives them a time away and they have time with their colleagues, and that's great. But what do you do during the regular part of the school year? How do you care for them in that sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again,
Yeah.
We've been thinking about our faculty development plan. We have a development plan for their academic areas, their personal walk with the Lord, their family life, and their outside the seminary Christian life. we are blessed to have most of our faculty members as pastors or elders of local churches.
Oh my goodness.
So they're
Okay.
actively plugged in. So that also means that some of them are busy 7 days a week. There is no break.
And that's what I was getting to in my question, really, because I know that most faculty around the world, outside of the West, most faculty are working one or two jobs. They're pastoring a church or serving as an elder. So how do they balance all that out? And how do you help them do that?
Yeah, and honestly, I think I could do a lot better.
Yeah.
It's a time of confession as well. But honestly, maybe it's the Indian thing. I don't want to, go down that rabbit hole, but maybe it's a thing, but the need of the hour is such that I'm actively involved in my church.
Yeah.
One of the leaders in my church. So I don't have a weekend as something to look forward to as a break. But instead, it's just change of scene, and the demands are slightly different from academic to a church setting.
Right.
But during the week, we have meetings, evenings, we have meetings. So this summer break is the time I kind of wind down.
Yeah.
But for 2 semesters, the fall and the spring, I don't slow down. So towards the end of spring, I'm really burned out.
Yeah.
I told my wife this year, I can't wait for the semester to get over. I can't wait for us to go back to the States just to relax. But I take more work. Dr. Stephen takes more work on himself, and we let faculty members take break. One of the things that we do is to send our faculty members for various academic conferences. We encourage them to go. We pay for their transportation, accommodation, because that's part of the academic development investment that we do in our faculty members. Some of them do present papers, but even if it's not presenting papers, if they want to attend an academic conference, we allow them that space, and they will make up classes for those hours. Yeah.
If you had to maybe imagine what else we could do for faculty, and I'm going to put you on the spot here for a moment, but if you had to imagine what else could we be doing for faculty so that they don't burn out and they are still wanting to be engaged, because for them to be involved with students and to do the spiritual formation and do all those things, they themselves spiritually need to be in a good place.
It's true.
So what else do you think we could be doing, Eldy, especially in the Indian context or wherever really, but what else could we be doing as those of us that may be leading schools and programs? What else can we be doing to create a little bit more margin in their lives where they can maybe walk a little healthier with the Lord? What are your thoughts on that?
Great question. Actually, something I've been thinking about. I've been discussing with Dr. Stephen George as well. We need to hire more faculty members, definitely. Just to give you a perspective, last year I taught 24 credit hours.
Oh.
On top of doing everything I do.
Oh.
One faculty member.
And you're still standing.
I will not mention, he's the director of the PhD program. He's been amazingly gracious to me. He taught 29 credit hours. That's atrocious.
Oh,
atrocious.
goodness.
Why did he have to do that?
29 hours. How many classes is that? 29 hours?
So that all of them are 3 credit hour.
They're all 3 credit hours.
Yeah.
So my math is that's 9. That's
so
9?
yes, 9.
9 plus.
Yes, 9 plus.
Okay. On top
yeah.
of everything else that he has going on.
Of course, he has administrative job as well as the director of the PhD program.
That's right. That's right.
But why did we do that? It's love for the Lord. And we recognize that it's only for a short term. We are hiring more faculty members. But we do lack well-qualified faculty members, enough of those in India to hire. So we are still advertising. We are still ready to hire.
Sure.
So we are just asking the Lord for direction.
Sure.
So once that happens, I'm pretty sure the workload will reduce. That will give them more time to kind of work
spread
on.
the work out.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
Another thing is like allowing them to take vacations. Sometimes take their family along when they go for conferences. Some of them go outside India. So that's a good time for
Yeah,
them.
for them
But
as
the
well.
summer is spread out in such a way that it is light for them. But yeah, there is a lot more that we could do.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So tell us for a few moments about your journey. And you've mentioned DTS, you've mentioned ETS and so on in terms of your studies, but how did you get to this position, LD? How did you get to the point where you're now serving as academic dean for, a really reputable, well-known school there in India? How did that happen for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a graduate of ETS. I'm
Yeah.
a graduate of DTS. I graduated in 2017. The one thing I wanted to do was to go back as soon as I could. I graduated on May 14th. June 14th, we landed in India.
Oh, my.
In 1 month's time. Our boys were born and raised here, so we packed up everything and went. My goal was to invest in people who will take the gospel to places that I cannot go. Because ETS is blessed to have students from across Asian countries, outside India as well. I will leave out the name of the countries for
Sure, yeah.
for
Security
good
purposes.
reasons. Yeah,
Right.
and so that is what I wanted to do. When I got there, we started upscaling ourselves, adding more programs. We started the PhD program, and the demand just was there, and we did not have enough personnel to kind of shoulder some of those. And the gentleman, Professor Joy John, who was my predecessor, did a great job. And he's closer to retirement. It was kind of time for the baton to be passed on. And then the administration and the board thought about me, my education from Dallas Theological Seminary, and I was the director of the PhD program prior to that.
Okay.
So they asked me for 3 years. I said no. So they have been thinking about it for about 3 years. I just thought about what should an academic dean do, and I just thought about what would be my vision for the next 50 years for ETS. And just thinking about that, I said, I don't want to step into that because that will take every ounce of energy from me.
Right.
And that won't give me much time to focus on my research interests. But then the last time when Dr. Stephen George approached me, I said, let me pray about it. Discussed with my wife, we prayed about it. And after about 3 months, we said yes. We took counsel from our trusted friends, spiritual mentors, and we felt that this was the right thing to do because it wasn't just the opportunity, but what we could contribute in that role. Yeah.
And you've been serving in that role now since
3 years.
3
This
years.
is the third year.
Okay, that's fantastic. Let's talk about your graduates for a moment. Serving in your role, and I love the surveys, the surveys you do in the graduates. That's fantastic, because at the end of the day, as academic dean, you have your faculty, you have your programs, but really the payoff is with the students, right?
Absolutely.
And what is it that they're doing after they graduate? So as you think about your current students at ETS, what do you hope for them? What is it that you would love to see them do once they graduate from ETS? What is your hope for them?
Yeah. We definitely see that there is a need for good pastors in India.
Okay.
Because we have many churches. As you know, we are the most populous country in the world.
Yes.
1.4 billion people. For that, there are many churches as well, although the percentage of Christianity is still around less than 5% age. But the churches are, a mile wide, but an inch deep in terms of theological education. As a result, there are a lot of false teachings that are coming up from untrained pastors and leaders and people latching onto whatever they find on the internet or on YouTube, thinking that they have no way of filtering. So I hope that some of our graduates will become the denominational and church leaders in powerful positions so that they can shape the future of those denominations and churches. that's one of my desires, to see that our graduates take on that leadership role so that they can shape the future of Indian Christianity. So
great.
that's one of the things. The other thing would be training next generation of educators within evangelical institutions. So part of our emphasis is training some of them to become the next generation academicians. So our academic program is very rigorous, and they can pretty much go and do their PhD studies anywhere in the world. And that is our goal as well, that we want at least the cream of the crop to go through and do further education and go back to India if they are in the Western countries, to go back to India and to get involved with theological education.
Good. As we begin to close, and your role now as academic dean, you've been there 3 years. You're maybe by now you're just really starting to understand your job, right?
That's correct.
I tell people, you move into a new role,
Yes.
give it at least 2-3 years before you step away from it, because that's when you start to really understand what your job is. Right?
Correct.
So now you've settled in, you have a good feel for what you're doing, you have a good feel for the environment, you have the culture there, and your faculty, and so on and so forth. Because of all that, what do you hope for in your role as academic dean 5 years later? Beyond that, what do you hope to see within the academic environment of ETS over those next number of years as you're leading the academic department there at ETS?
Yeah. So we have just entered into partnership with Dallas Theological Seminary for our counseling program.
That's correct.
Thanks to you for taking the leadership.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
to Dr. Mark Yarbrough and all of the team here.
Yeah.
A great thank you to all of you.
Yeah.
This is a huge blessing for us.
Sure.
So I want to see that this program is flourishing and benefiting the churches in India, because there is a huge need for counseling in Indian context. Then developing several of our academic programs. Right now we are kind of maximum student intake number is about 110. That's a maximum across all the programs we can accommodate on campus. I hope to see in the next 3 to 5 years that we increase that number to 260. So I've already been discussing with the president from day one about the number.
Yeah.
So as in order to do that, we need to also have to have infrastructure in place. So as the first step, we just started the construction for the new academic building.
Oh, my
That's the first
goodness.
step.
Okay.
So we are already making facilities ready to accommodate for us an influx of number, 110 to 260.
That's
it is
big
it's a
change.
big change.
Big change, sure.
Because we are adding more programs, and so we are in need of more classrooms. Then, of course, we have to also increase the dormitory space. That will be the next phase. Along the way, we are also hiring new faculty members as experts in different departments. So my goal is to take the institution to the next level
That's
with
great.
new programs and with the increase in intake.
That's fantastic. What about, now you just mentioned things like new classrooms and faculty and new construction and those sort. Where is ETS now in terms of online or distance learning programs? How do you handle those programs at ETS? And is that an area that is growing? Is it an area of much need there in India for you? Tell me more about, let's unpack that for a few minutes too. Yeah.
Yeah, again, great question. Dr. Stephen George, he did his PhD from UNT.
That's right.
On higher education. And his dissertation, one of his major initial initiative was, I think, online education.
Something along those lines.
Something
Yeah.
along that line.
Yeah.
So we started the online program about 12 years ago at ETS, and it has grown. Now we have around 300 enrolled students, across different phases of the program.
Sure.
Some have just been enrolled, and some have just graduated.
Yeah.
So that space is growing. We have students from North America taking classes
Oh
at
my
ETS.
goodness.
We have people
See, but
from Middle East.
that's the world today, though, right? I mean,
That's
you're
right.
having Americans take classes from
Yeah.
an Indian
Yeah.
seminary online.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah, I
great.
think they were initially living in the Middle East and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
moved.
Yeah.
I guess the
Yeah.
education just went with them.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so,
And that's the beauty of the online part.
correct.
Right.
And it's growing. And that department is also growing. It's a well-run department. So our faculty members have recorded videos for the online space. It's a 2-year program, like a Master of Arts in Christian Studies. It's actually 5 years, but if you look at our regular classroom, it's just a 2-year program.
Got it.
But they do it in the online space across 3 to 5 years.
Sure.
Yeah,
They
because
spread it out.
Yeah, spread it out because almost all of them are working.
Yeah.
They have full-time job.
And that's why they're doing it online. Yeah.
Exactly. And so there is a need, and it's growing, and it's a well-run program.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. As we close, Eldy, again, we may have people here watching this podcast, and they're leading programs, they're leading schools, they're leading all sorts of things around the world. What would be your word of encouragement to them, and what would you hope for them and their programs as you think about what you're doing, and how would you encourage others in their work in the same type of work that you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are in this space of higher education or theological education, first of all, I want to salute you because this is an important work. But always think about the church. We exist for the church. When you develop your curriculum, when you think about students, always think about who they will end up serving. Make your education in such a way that this will ultimately lead people to Christ. That not only as faculty members, but students themselves fall in love with Jesus, and that they then take the gospel and the word to their churches and then to the lost. So focus, keep church at the center of all your program and all your curriculum preparation.
That's fantastic. Eldy, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me. I've enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for what you're doing there at ETS and your work, and may the Lord just continue to bless you and keep you as you do that work faithfully there for India. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael, for having me on the show, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. You have been a blessing. Thank you so much.
You bet, my friend. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Reimagining Theological Education Together. If you've enjoyed the conversation, either subscribe to our channel and or share it with others that might find our conversation here today useful for your programs and those of others. And keep an eye on other episodes that are coming up in the future, because it's important that we keep our community together, because we want to reimagine theological education together.